Hello ladies and gentlemen, one of your projects while I am out is going to be making memes. So you can use Photoshop or Illustrator, whichever one you're more comfortable with. And I'm just going to show you how to do that really quickly in each application. So here's just a bunch of different examples of some memes that I found. They might not be ones that you like, but these are just ones that I found. One of the things that you'll really need to do is get that distinct text with the black outline, because to me that's what really makes it. So these were just a bunch of different examples, and these are on Google Classroom, so you can look at these for inspiration as well. Your memes must be school appropriate. That means no nudity, no overly graphic violence, no drugs or alcohol. Keep them nice and simple, please. So when you are finding your memes, you can either use a picture that you might have on your phone if you'd like to use one of yourself or your friends, or you can find a picture online. That does not mean that I want you to take this meme and then submit it as your project. You are going to make your own. These are ones that I found as examples, so I'm using them as examples. I'm not trying to pass this off as my own. So you're not going to take one and submit it to me. If I can find it by doing a Google search, then you will lose points for this project. So let me go ahead and show you how to make a simple one in Photoshop. So this is just one that I made as an example. I'll show you how to do this. So when you come through, I'm actually going to close this so I can reopen it. In Photoshop, go to File, Open, and I'm going to look for that picture again. I use this picture. So when I open up this picture, I'm going to go down to my text tool, and I can click on the top, and when you start typing, you'll have your text there. If you need to move it, then you need to click your move arrow. And if you need to go back to typing, you need to click on the text tool again before you can actually start typing. So that moment when, and then to make it look like that typical meme text, you usually want to use Impact as your font. And then to make it have that black outline, to do that in Photoshop, you have to go to Layer, Layer Style, and then Stroke. It's not like an Illustrator when it already has a stroke button next to it. So now that I have the stroke there, I can change the size if I want. I'm just going to leave it at 3 pixels and then click OK. If I wanted to adjust the size of the text or the spacing of the text, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to toggle on my character and paragraph menu. And I can drag this down and put it into the actual tabs here. So I can go through and adjust the spacing in between each letter. If I want them closer together, if I want them farther away, that would be this menu right here. So if I drag it to the right, they will space out. If I drag it to the left, they will get closer together. There's other settings that you can use here too, so feel free to play around with them if you'd like. I'm going to actually make this a little bit bigger. So if you want to, you can click the drop-down menu, or you can actually drag left and right on this part here when you click and hold, and you can resize your text that way. So I'm going to make that just that big so it fits over the top, and then I'm going to make a new text line down here for the other part of my meme. And this is actually going to go off the page, so I'm going to have to make this a little bit smaller. So if I highlight everything, I can come back over to my size and make it small enough to where it fits. Now if you noticed, I don't have the stroke on there again, so I need to highlight, go up to Layer, Layer Style, and Stroke. And that's how I get that black outline around the text. So after you have that done, go to File and Save As. Sorry, it's been a while since I used Photoshop. And change it to a JPEG, and you can name it Meme 1, Meme 2, whichever one you're on, and then save it so you can put it on Google Classroom. So that is how to do it in Photoshop. Let's go ahead and do the same thing in Illustrator. So click File, Open, and I'm going to have to go and find my folder that I was working in. I believe that was in my photography folder. Bear with me a minute here. Photography folder, portrait photography, and where'd my ice cream kid go? There it is. So now in Illustrator, I can click my type tool, start typing, and I will have to do some adjustments. And don't forget that you usually have all caps when you're making a meme. So I need to increase the size, change the color, and add a stroke to this. So right now I'm going to go ahead and look and see if I can find Impact as my font. And there it is. So there's impact. I'm going to change the color, so I'm going to go ahead and double click on my color picker, change it to white, and then I'm going to change my stroke color. First I need to increase my stroke, so I'm going to make it 1 point, and now it's already black. So since it's so small, I'm going to go ahead and increase my font size, make it 72, and that's way too big, so I'm going to go ahead and drop it down to 60, and see if I can't drag that over here a little bit. So I can look at it right now and say not only is it too big, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, but I can see that my stroke points don't kind of fill in those spaces like memes usually have. But again, it's personal preference, so if you'd like to increase the stroke points, you would have to click back on and then go over to stroke and maybe increase it to 3 points or 4 points, 2 points, whatever you want to use. So I'm going to leave it at 2. So there's my first text line, and then I would grab my text tool again, and this is again too big, so I'm going to make this smaller after I put it on. And one of the better things in Illustrator, I think, is just being able to drag it as a shape and then put it down. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on my color picker, change it to white, click OK, and then make my stroke points again. So I think we had 2 on there, and there you go. So now remember, when you are saving your finished products, in Illustrator, you need to go to File, Export, change it to a JPEG, and then again name it Meme1, Meme2, whichever one you're working on, so you can save it and export it to Google Classroom. You will be responsible for making 5 and then submitting them to the Google Classroom post. You'll get 20 points for each one that you submit.